We are going to have such an insightful and exciting panel today. My name is Sophia Lee. I'm so honored to be here. I'm a climate journalist. And before we get started, it's the afternoon. It's the first day of Climate Week. We need to take 3 breaths together. Yes? Okay, so join me. Close your eyes. Have both feet planted in the ground. Put your cell phones down. I know. The guy taking a selfie back there, just 1 second. You could take that, I promise. Take a deep inhale through your nose here. Hold it at the top and let it out with a big sigh out of your mouth. Here we go. Another deep inhale through your nose. Hold it at the top. Let it out. Big sigh out of your mouth. Last one. Deep inhale through your nose. Suck in some air through your mouth and hold it. And let it out. The deepest sigh out today. Here we go. Okay, thank you. Al Gore once told me that our own energy systems is the most renewable resource, and yet we totally neglect it, right? So we are here to talk about systemic by design, scaling circularity through culture, innovation, and infrastructure. And these are all buzzwords to a certain extent. And I think in the fashion industry, we sometimes use buzzwords like circularity so much that the consumer already thinks it's a reality. But circularity today exists more in theory than in practice. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation has found that less than 1% of materials produced actually gets recycled into new textiles. So today we're going to talk about how an outsider is rethinking this terminology, what circularity looks like. And sometimes it often takes an outsider to bring their solutions into the retail industry. So I'm so excited for my panelists today. First off, can you please introduce yourself? And then also tell me about one of your favorite circular systems in nature. Because when we talk about circularity, it's not that radical. It's not that new of an innovation. Nature has these circular systems. So please introduce yourself and tell us your favorite circular example in nature. Katie, we'll start with you.
Is this on?
Yes.
Great. For me, my name is Katie Becker, and I'm the Chief Creative Officer at Arc'teryx. I oversee the creative design team that creates the product there, looking at advanced concepts, inline design, hard goods and accessories, footwear, and energy projects. Okay, for me, I would say it would be all about the seasons. You know, we live in the Coast Mountains. It's a temperate kind of rainforest up there, and I have a hike that I do all year round. And I love the fact that it changes in all 4 seasons. So in spring, I get really happy. It's like everything's kind of awakening. In summer, it's everything is in bloom and it's bright. In the fall, we do live in the Coast Mountains, so there's a lot of rain. I enjoy the rain, actually. I'm kind of weird. And in the winter, it's really calm. So I like to think of it as my happy place. And to me, that is that circular ecosystem.
I love that. And I do believe today is the first day of fall in the Northern Hemisphere. So happy fall, everyone. The seasons. Jules?
Hi, I'm Jules Lennon, fashion lead at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And I also love the rain. So there you go. So I live on a small island called the Isle of Wight off the south coast of the UK. And while we are surrounded by ocean, there's also some really beautiful forest. And actually, I always think about the forest here because there is no waste in nature. If a leaf falls from a tree, it feeds that forest for billions of years. The natural systems have regenerated themselves. So waste is really a human invention.
Hello, my name is Kyle Wood. I am the Senior Director of Strategy and Circularity at Arc'teryx. My role is to work with everyone across the brand to build better systems for the future that reduces waste and unlocks value for the company and hopefully for the industry as a whole. As a amateur but avid gardener, I guess, I'm inspired by the bees and the animals that follow the seasonal patterns and pollinate and reseed the world and create these regenerative ecosystems.
Lovely. I was just thinking how I'm a first-time mom and our body systems are completely circular. Breast milk comes from the mother's blood and all the nutrients goes through the placenta into the baby. And so circular systems surround us. Kyle, I want to talk about Arc'teryx. So Arc'teryx born in the outdoors. The name specifically comes from the Archaeopteryx fossil and this concept of a natural evolution. How does circularity fit in as a natural evolution of what the brand has already been doing?
Great. So for those who don't know, Arc'teryx was founded many years ago. And our origin story is a bit of a part of our evolution, right? So we're rooted in solving problems and embracing challenge and solving problems for the mountain athletes. Our founders were two climbers who in 1989 were unsatisfied with the product on the market and wanted something better, lighter, and better performing. So they got out and obsessed the process to build something better, not just for them, but for their fellow athletes. And that's really the mindset that drives us from 1989 to today, the Katie and team lead from a design perspective. If we fast forward to today, I think we'd argue that circularity is the biggest challenge we face as an industry. And it's that mindset that we're going to apply as a company to solve for circularity. So we're making the necessary investments and commitments as a brand. The fact that I'm sitting here on stage with you all is a testament to that. I sit in the central strategy function at Arc'teryx. I don't represent product, brand, or any other element of the company. I'm here to drive an enterprise strategy and make circularity core to everything we do. And that's really where we're focused, is making it core to our business and our growth model for the future. Because the future demands better systems, not just more things. I think we've all understand that at this point. And the brands that will succeed in this space will look at it from an ecosystem approach, similar to the regenerative systems we talked about, connecting product, community, and services together and building something that will help customers transition from a linear model to a circular model. And we believe as a brand that we're unique to lead in this space because of this history of obsessive design and problem solving. We have the credibility and the ability to do something. Our direct model, 80% of our business comes through direct stores, which gives us a direct connection and engagement with the customer and a really strong relationship and insights. We've made investments in services and things that even feed back into our product model. And at the end of the day, we're led by our values to leave it better. So that is behind everything we do. We start off every discussion of sustainability and circularity around how do we leave it better? That's really what drives us.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, Jules, before we get any further, define circularity in the apparel industry.
So it's easier to start with where we are today, right? So pretty much the entire global economy operates under the same model. We take resources from the ground to make products and materials that we want, need, or simply aspire to have. And then after an incredibly short amount of time, we get rid of them. It's a take, make, waste linear system. And the circular economy offers a better alternative. And it's really just grounded in three principles: eliminate waste and pollution, circulate products and materials, and regenerate nature.
And as we're talking about, in nature, circular systems are everywhere. So why has it been so hard and so challenging for the apparel industry to go from a linear one into a circular one?
So the fashion retail industry is pretty much one of the most iconic examples of this broken linear system. We're talking about a pretty major radical transformation of the way we design, make, and use these products. And so to fundamentally redesign the entire retail industry up and down the value chain, it's pretty complex. No one organization can do it alone. But the good news is there's kind of three main drivers that you can start to get there. One is circular product design. One is, or two, I should say, is increasing collection and sorting infrastructure. And the third is increasing uptake of circular business models. And that word's thrown around a lot, but what we mean at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation by that is repair, resell, rental, remaking. And today, most of the activity that businesses and policymakers are focused on has really been in those first two. So circular product design and then recycling infrastructure. And that is essential, and that does need to continue at pace and at scale. But if we want to achieve the full circular economy solution, we need to look at the full suite of solutions available with the same level of ambition and the same level of investment. And that means those things like circular business models. How are we delivering those redesigned products to customers? How are we helping them keep them in use at their highest value for as long as possible, whether that's with that same customer again and again and again, or whether that's threaded through the lives of many people? And that's why talking about some of the initiatives like Rebird that Arc'teryx are working on is really exciting.
Okay, let's talk about Rebird. Katie, Arc'teryx believes that great design can solve complex problems. How is circularity involved at every step of the design process?
Yeah, for us, circularity, we look at it as an opportunity. It's not a compromise. We make the most technical product in the outdoor industry. And when we talk about circularity, we want to make sure that, again, there is no compromise there. So everything we create is built to solve solutions for the mountain athlete. And so we actually have these 4 really simple design filters that everything we make goes through. So the first one is, at Arc'teryx, is it authentic? Should we make it? Does it make sense for us? We don't want to just make any product. We want to make the right product. Back to that founder, Dave Lane, he's actually still with us creating product today. And, it's really good for us to actually say, should we make this? Should we not? And as a collective, we actually go through that process. And then within those design filters, the second one that we do, is it functional? What problems are we solving? Does this make sense? Can we actually better what's out there? And then the third one is beauty. If you look at Arc'teryx product, it's so simple, it's so minimalist. We try to strip away whatever we can because we also know that to repair things, that makes it hard. So we like to say that we house function in beauty. And then the fourth one is the big one, and that's responsibility. So as a design team, we really look at durability, longevity, and repairability. So we don't just say circular. We want to look at how long can we actually keep that product out in play. So those are our 4 design filters. And once they go through those filters, then we actually look at the product and we say, is it worthy of a bird? Yes or no. If it's not, we go back and redesign. If it is, we're ready to move forward. So every single thing that we create, we really want to obsess on that future of circularity, repairability, durability, and longevity. So the other amazing thing that we have at Arc'teryx is we have the most unbelievable athlete team. And, I've been in the industry my entire career. I've worked with athletes in the past. I know other brands that work with athletes. And, we don't just make product for athletes to shoot in, to go out and compete in and do anything in. They're actually embedded into our design process. So, we give them first round prototypes, second round, third, fourth, whatever we need to do to really get that product out there and test it and make sure that it's durable, that they love it, that they want to keep it for a long time. And so we have this kind of way of working where we know it's ready when they don't want to give it back. So it's a really important filter for us. And then, again, back to circularity, we're fortunate. We've got a manufacturing facility right in Vancouver called Arc1. And it's where all of our return product comes back or anything that needs to be repaired. So the design team gets to go out there all the time and actually dig through and obsess on every single failure point within any product that we've had. And that actually informs how we can create future product, which is a really cool thing. And then back to Rebird, it's this amazing platform where we actually get insights directly from consumers. We can work with our retail teams. So again, same thing. We get all those insights from Arc1, from Rebird, from our athletes, from our intuition. The design floor is filled with, I call it not really designers, it's makers, tinkers, engineers, pattern makers, cut and sew experts. We have the ability on the design floor to actually make a waterproof breathable jacket in a day and be out in the mountains right then. We can make a down jacket in a day. We can make a technical harness in a day, and we have the facility to make that. So it's pretty special. And then we have partners like the MacArthur Foundation and Amber Cycle. There's a lot of partnerships. We know we can't do this alone, to your point. Like it's going to take a movement, and we're excited to be at the front of that. So we want to make sure that all the product that we create is in play as long as possible.
Thank you so much, Katie. I want to go back to Rebird really fast because, in the fashion industry, at least in New York, a lot of brands they're struggling getting consumers to bring back their clothing items to change that consumer behavior. But at Rebird, the community there is so engaged and so committed. What do you think makes that difference?
I'll take that, Katie.
Yeah.
That's okay. So for those that don't know, first of all, I guess we call our logo the bird. So we've used that term a couple times up here.
That's why Katie said, does it deserve a bird?
Yeah. So Rebird is really where circularity comes to life. for our customers, and where we have direct engagement around circularity, and we invite them in to the system and the process. And it's a circular business model of care, repair, and resale that started, at the term Rebird about 4 years ago. But over the last 4 years, we've scaled that, but we have a long history of repair, many decades. But when we look at the investment we've made and the engagement we're getting here in New York, but around the world, Rebird is one of the most engaging and powerful touch points we have as a brand. It extends the life of our product, but also our relationship with the customer. And it's an access point to circularity that is easy, right? So you don't have to keep buying new things. You can bring it in for wash or repair, and it creates a circular system with our customers. It's really shaping the future of design, as Katie alluded to, but our relationships and building a system that enables circular behaviors, not just transactions, which is our focus. And just over the last 4 years, we went from, a scrappy idea that the team wanted to implement in the company to now we have over 30 in-store service centers around the world, including one here in New York. If you go to 580 Broadway in Soho, it's the largest expression of Rebird that we have. In-store operators, in-store resale, in-store care and repair. And we also have regional partnerships around the globe for repair where we can't do it in-house. We will work with partners across every region that we're in to repair product. And that over the last few years alone, we've processed tens of thousands of units of product for repair. And as we look out to 2030, we're hoping to build capabilities and infrastructure that allow us to have into the millions of units of product serviced and repaired, which we think is just an amazing commitment, and we're putting the resources behind it. And to Kay's point, that means working with our supply chain team and our design team to take the insights from Rebird, but also build the infrastructure for scale long term.
Thank you, Kyle. I think Rebird is like, if you know, like there's such a community in New York who the secondary product, the secondary market is almost just as valuable as the prime market. And I think that just goes to show how robust the brand is. So Jules, I want to talk about how for true systems change, you need collaboration at every step. So walk us through this partnership with Arc'teryx and what does that look like?
So I met Katie, not this Katie, different Katie. Arc'teryx has clearly many Katies, in February 24, and we immediately just identified the synergies in the work. We had just come off the back of 4 years of our previous demonstration project, which was called the Jeans Redesign, and we had worked with 100 organizations from across the fashion value chain to prove it was possible to design and make a pair of jeans to be fit for a circular economy today. They had to be durable and repairable and traceable and made with safe materials and processes, and the rest. The guidelines are available on the website at the same time, which was when we began the project. Everyone was like, it's not possible. We actually locked them all in a room for 2 days to actually agree on what was possible, and we would not let them leave. And we proved it. We proved that actually circular design could become the norm. So the moment when Katie and I met, we were thinking about what's our next question? What's the next gap? And we were really thinking about how can we scale circular business models? And it's a really big question. And so Rebird was a great match for that. And as we were developing our next demonstration project, which is the fashion remodel, and we launched it last year in May 24, Arc'teryx stepped in as one of the founding participants. And this is the first time that fashion companies from high-end to high street are joining a project with a shared focus, really trying to tackle what does it mean and how do we begin to decouple revenue from production? How do we overcome the barriers that are genuinely stopping, not that we can overcome as an individual organization, but like that no one organization can overcome alone, scaling these circular business models. We kind of talk about it as like, how do you make money without making more clothes, right? And we're now 1 year into this multi-year demonstration project. We're working with 13 brands and retailers. We've launched the first insights. They're available on our website. And they show the business case from both an economic and environmental perspective through the lens of customer, climate, resilience. And what we're doing with this project is incubating change with this leading group to accelerate, to create a roadmap that then other businesses and policymakers can follow. And it's all with the intention that circular products and circular services can become the norm and the most desirable option and the most available option for customers when they're shopping.
Thank you, Jules. You touched on this decoupling that brands are, grappling with. And Kyle, I want to understand. So Arc'teryx, it's a high growth company. So how does Arc'teryx reconcile continued economic growth while also prioritizing circularity?
Right. So for us, economic growth is not in conflict with circularity. Quite the opposite. We see it as a core enabler to our growth into the future. Circularity is going to play a central role, not just in how we organize and how we design, but truly about how our business grows. And we're making a real commitment that over 50% of our revenue by 2030 is going to come from circular product and business models.
Wait, I'm sorry. You have to say that again because that's like
50%, which I won't say what the dollar amount might be, but over half of our revenue will come from product and business models made for circularity
by
2030.
That's in 5 years.
So
that's huge.
These aren't just plans on paper. The work is in process. So Katie alluded to it. I mean, within the world of design and product, we're embedding circularity into everything we do. We're setting targets and standards for materials, repairability, recyclability with every one of our major products that are coming down the line. At the end of the day, there's no trade-offs for performance. For us as a brand, ultimate performance is paramount. And circularity